Now, at this point, what happens, a lot of speakers will tell a story that reinforces their message. Okay? This is a tool that speakers use to manipulate, to motivate the audience. And some speakers actually have what they call a signature story. Now, this is a story that is unique to them. Okay, one that they tell over and over and over again, and it makes them a lot of money. And I'm thinking, I got to get me one of these stories. So I decided to take the weekend off. I'm going to write my signature story. I'm sitting in the living room, and I'm trying to think of something. And I notice out of the corner of my eye this wasp crawling along the windowsill. Now, the wasp is not flying, it's crawling. And then suddenly, and for no apparent reason, the wasp loses its footing, which should be difficult for a wasp because they got 6 feet. Falls off the windowsill and falls into a spider web. Now the wasp is frantically flapping its wings trying to get out of the web. But the more he struggles, the more entangled he becomes. Meanwhile, the spider doesn't waste any time. Bada bing, bada boom, the spider's there trying to tie the wasp down. The wasp now is leading with his abdomen trying to sting the spider. The spider's bobbing and weaving trying to avoid the lethal jab. Who's going to win? The big wasp or the little spider? And if the big wasp manages to sting the little spider, how's the wasp going to get out of the web? Do you see where? No, okay. What I'm thinking is the wasp falling into this web could be a story falling into my lap. This could be my signature story. So I'm watching this struggle, this life and death struggle, with great anticipation. Nothing's coming to me. All I can think of is I'm watching some National Geographic special, but there's no extreme close-up and no voiceover. But when you watch these things on TV, you have no control over them. Even if you got TiVo, you can't change the outcome. Well, I'm thinking I could change this outcome. I can manipulate the environment to come up with my desired result. But what's my desired result? Who would I help in a case like this? The wasp or the spider? Two despicable insects. Although technically speaking, the spider's not an insect because it's got 8 legs, so it's a bug. So I decide I'm going to keep score. But if I'm going to do math, I need a drink. As I'm sipping my scotch, I'm thinking I'm going to help the spider because the spider is not an aggressive creature. Spider finds a nice little corner somewhere, waits for its prey to come to its web. As I'm finishing my second scotch, I'm thinking about all the nursery rhymes. Coming to my parlor, said the spider to the fly. Then I'm thinking about the movie The Fly. The old one with Vincent Price, where at the end of the movie, Vincent Price's brother's got the giant head of a fly, and he goes, "Arr, arr, arr," and his wife's going, "Ah!" Meanwhile, there's a tiny fly buzzing around, and it's got the head of Vincent Price's brother, and they got to catch the fly, put it in the machine, and switch him back. But the fly gets caught in a spider web. Help me. And the spider's getting close. Help me, help. That's it, game, set, and match. That spider's toast. I'm taking off my shoe. I'm going to find that spider, and I'm going to go, that's for Vincent Price. That's for all the bad dreams. And that's for little Miss Muffet. Now I need a third single malt just to calm down. I decide now I'm just going to be a neutral observer. I'm going to let nature take its course. But now I've had 3 drinks. I can't remember, was I in the kitchen, the living room, or the deck? It took me a half hour to find that spider web. And a wasp was dead. It was over. But I noticed underneath that spider web, there were 3 tiny shells. They were 3 hollowed out wasp abdomens. This spider is good. But what's the point? See, you can't tell a story unless it makes a point, and I haven't got a point here. What am I going to... But then I started thinking. Something else they tell you when you write speeches. Come up with 3 points and a poem. I could write a poem. So I did. The Wasp and the Spider by Vinny Verelli. If God gives you the gift of flight, don't crawl, for along this rocky path you may fall. Falling in of itself is not bad. You can learn from a fall and be glad. But if at new heights you are crawling and slip and find yourself falling, will it be a net to catch you, you clumsy putz? Or a spider to trap you and suck out your guts? It needs a little work. But I just thought of a point. Here's a point, okay? It has nothing to do with the bada bing, but it's a point. Just life throws a lot of things at us. We have to make decisions all the time. Do we get involved? Do we watch? Sometimes getting involved with something, you can get stung. There are times when you get involved with a person and that person can suck out your guts. And that's an issue I got to work out on my own.